Hi, welcome to Fat Mascara, everyone. I'm Jen Sullivan.
I'm Jessica Matlin. What is up?
Hi, friend. Happy sort of fashion week, I guess.
Fashion.
Oh, you have a good guest. This is like well-timed for fashion weeks. A very fashionable guest.
She is very fashionable. Listen, we've got Katie Jane Hughes in the Fat Mascara Stewed. This was great.
Sans me, by the way. Just the two of you.
I know, sorry. I had to. Listen, if Katie Jane Hughes can make it, like,
who cares about me?
Be there or be square, okay? It was great. Listen, we've tried to get Katie Jane on the pod for like years now, and it's just kind of the stars have never aligned with times and this and that. But finally we got her. This was such a great conversation. The one thing I wish we could have done is I wish we could have done like makeup together, because I feel like that would have been the ultimate. That's Fat Mascara 2.0. Okay, that's Fat Mascara 2.0.
Yeah.
But I find Katie Jane Hughes as an artist super inspiring because she really has fun with color. She really is, I hate the kind of like term like real girl, but she's kind of like a real girl. And like, I don't feel like she's trying to, like, she's just kind of like herself. You know what I mean? And she plays with, at least when she started, like what she has. She uses everything. She's very like a relatable person, but she's also like, you know, in the fashion world. She gave us, P.S., she's coming out with, just like she casually dropped like some intel on her new line or her new products that are coming out. I got as much as I could for you guys. I got as much as I could possibly squeeze out of her. And she's also just had an amazing journey from nail artist to like editorial / like Instagram makeup artist, like made good. So
yeah,
I shouldn't say Instagram makeup artist made good. It's more like Instagram makeup artist evolving, breaking the mold. So,
there we go.
Awesome
There's your title
chat
for the interview.
Yeah, she's just kind of making her own way, and I'm always inspired by people who do things their way. So, very cool chat. Jen, I'm sorry you couldn't be there.
It's all right. Let's get into it. I'm listening now. Here it is.
First of all, thank you so much for coming on Fat Mascara. I'm so happy to see
Jess. You. I'm so happy to see you. It's been a minute.
I don't remember the last time I saw you in person.
It might have been at
Shireen. Been years.
No, I think it was at Shireen Idris's opening. Oh no,
Yes.
That wasn't you. No, you went. You were there.
What do you mean it wasn't me? I was there.
Oh yeah, you were.
I was there. I remember.
Yeah, you were.
I remember being like absolutely like it was so hot. It was like cold out, but I was
both
hot.
of you were there. I know both of you were there, and I got confused for a second. And there was this very tall man there, and then and we got to see Shireen's space. That was like just before Christmas or just after. Oh, it might have been March of this year or something like that. But it's like but that's been the first time in ages.
It was a really long time that I'd seen you because like the pandemic happened, and I feel like it was one of the first times I'd been like re-emerging. Like really like been going to like beauty events.
Yeah, I know.
But
same.
I want to go back. I want to go way back. Way, way back. Doing a little research. I understand that way before you got into beauty, you wanted to be a singer.
I did. I wanted to like, you know, I wanted to like sing. I wanted to be a little mini Mariah or a little, you know, something. Don't know what I don't know what the goal was, but that was the dream when I was a kid.
Well, I was going to ask you what was the dream? Like what did you see yourself like?
I don't really know. My mom.
What drew you to want to be a singer?
My mom. So my mom was a singer. My mom was when she worked, she was a singer. She used to go to like regionally in the northwest of England, she would sing in just different venues, different types of scenarios, different things, different events. And she was like a cabaret singer. She would sing cover songs, and, you know, she was a bit of a comedian too. She would tell jokes that were like, you know, really funny and sort of playing on different sort of things, different topics. But she, you know, I grew up in this household. My dad was a builder. My mom was a singer, and watching my mom sort of just be this kind of stage presence at 7 p.m. on a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday kind of gave me confidence to be that way in myself too. And, it was like my mom was kind of like, we call her a bit of a Southport celebrity because our hometown is Southport. She's a bit of a Southport celebrity. She'll go to the supermarket and she'll go shopping for some groceries and she'll get stopped by 30 people being like, hey, Jill, you all right? Oh, and chatting to her, and they all know her because of her music. And so because of her job. So, I think from a young age, like music grew up in definitely a musical family, sort of, but more of a working class family, if you like, in the sense of like we were all very much like, grafters, get our foot in the door in a certain space and just work your way up in it and through it. Not so much college, people, but like just, life experience people. And so, my mom was a singer and that was a job she fell into when she was 34 because she could sing, and my dad was a builder. And for me, when I was little, obviously, like I was definitely influenced by, the sort of movie and music scene that I was like interested in and so on and so forth. But I think because, I had this exposure to music through my mom being a singer, I had access to this equipment and this like really beautiful microphone and like these speakers and this like PA system, a sound system. And it was, so I started to sort of gig a little bit myself when I was, a teenager. And then I moved to London and everything changed.
I like what you were saying before about like, just kind of getting your foot in the door and figuring it out. Like that kind of what I'm picking up from you is this kind of resourcefulness when you don't have everything kind of handed to you.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we were lucky in the sense that we grew up working class and we grew up sort of with everything, all the basic needs met and stuff, but we didn't necessarily grow up wealthy or rich. And it was very much, for me, I always had this drive to get out of this small town and kind of do something bigger and more sort of exciting that was exciting for me. And now when I come home, it's exciting because all the like things that I used to take for granted are now exciting because I'm, I live in the city that I now take for granted. I'm like, oh yeah, New York City, cool. All right. I love it. But yeah, okay. Going home and the little things that you didn't appreciate when you were little from here, all of a sudden now so cool. But yeah, I mean, definitely I'm raised in one of those, like my mom, I'm sure we're going to talk about this, but when I was like 17, I didn't really do well in school. School was not like a strong suit for me. I've never been an academically strong person. I'm a creative person. And so my mom was like, go get a job in a nail salon. After I dropped out of colleges and schools and stuff, she was like, go get a job in a nail salon and learn a trade, whatever it is. Just go learn how to do something. So I learned how to do nails. And so, my nail career, I started in nail salons doing acrylic nails on the women locally in my hometown. That was my mom's way of like giving me an opportunity to harness a craft that I could always fall back on. Like I could open a nail salon if I needed to somewhere. I could just be a mobile nail tech or whatever, which eventually became like such a huge stepping stone for my career today.
So, okay. So you graduated, you went to college, you started doing nails, and that was in your hometown. But then when you went to London, what were you doing there?
In London, I was sort of doing nails. Nails was, again, still my stepping stone in London a little bit. Like I kind of, worked in the space of the nail salon space for a little while and then sort of segued into this makeup category because I just loved it. And I think it's another, again, I can like attribute that to my mom. Like my mom was a singer that would be at home wearing like a house dress, nightgown until 3 or 4 o'clock until she'd have to turn around and get ready to go to a gig. And she would literally transform from this, woman with hair kind of not, appropriate, not like, beautifully sort of finished. And she would like literally turn it out in 5 minutes and she'd have the glamorous look, biggest, most huge cocktail earrings with a sequin, gown with shoulder pads in it and bright red lip and big, thick black eyelashes and loads of bronzer. She's a bronzing like addict. And so, watching that when I was a kid from this kind of like, flustered mom of 4 kids and running a household to then turning around to be this complete different person at nighttime, I think always sort of showed me the power of makeup and the power of how much of a tool it is in many, many ways, but specifically like just how you feel and how you can like turn up and be somebody new that day.
Yeah. Did she know that you were like so dazzled by it, or did you kind of keep that inside?
Yeah, I was dazzled by it in a way that like it was cool to sort of be able to say like, even now, like if I meet somebody in our hometown and I don't know, if I meet somebody that I don't know knows my parents, I can probably say my mom's name and they'd probably know who she is. Like that's kind of a funny, thing because she's been around for a while here and stuff. That kind of thing is something. When I was a kid, I totally didn't really care. I think I just used to be like, yeah, cool, my mom's that singer from over there or whatever. And so it's just something you don't really realize. But yeah, it was cool. And I think back to how sort of flexible of a career she had, but also how volatile of a career it is, because obviously it's nothing's guaranteed when you work for yourself, and the insecurities can come with that. But no, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're in London, you're doing nails, and then I know you worked at Space & K,
I did.
which I just love.
Space & K was like my school, like I said before, like school for me was never like, I didn't graduate from any of my schools. I ended up leaving early from all of them. I don't really know why. I think I was definitely sort of given, because my mom knew, I got bullied a little bit in schools, and like every kid probably does, but I definitely was a bit of a, what's the word? I just was like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else. Like, how can we change this? I'm so miserable. I don't want to do this. And so we did homeschooling from like the ages of 15 to 17. And then I sort of went to college for performing arts, but I didn't really, fit in there either. And so I mean, for me, school, it was always very much like I didn't feel academically encouraged by the teachers, but I didn't really feel like I fit in with the other kids. And so my mom always kind of like let me sort of be the kid that I wanted to be, and was very much, just like she was easy on me in that respect, which I think is good, because I think, you don't know what sometimes pushing a kid too far in a direction they don't want to go is not good either. So I think, for me, like it was very much like Space & K was my school. It was like my second chance at school, and that school was makeup school. It gave me the opportunity to really learn how to put makeup on people from all different age groups, all different ethnic backgrounds, in sort of interesting scenarios. Somebody might come in and, I remember one time in Space & K, like all these different actors that lived in Notting Hill, their wives would come because they were going to the premiere with their famous husband. Like Mark Strong once, his wife came in and I did her makeup. And then there's this woman now that's on Game of Thrones, and I used to do her makeup before she was even famous. This lovely Scottish woman called Michelle, I think her name was. It's just so mad how this place that Space & K, this retail environment where I would essentially just sell product, became like such an amazing sort of life school and makeup school for me, just to how to deal with people, how to do makeup on people, how to communicate with people.
I didn't know that you were homeschooled for a couple of years.
Yeah, it wasn't really a consistent, it was something we tried to do, and then I sort of just fell under the radar a little bit in the sense of in the academic sense, I think. But I mean, again, like it's funny when I talk about my school stuff, I used to be a little embarrassed and a little ashamed of not being able to finish any of that stuff, whether it be just myself and my sort of own personal drive of not being able to see it through, or, whether or not I feel like the academic system sort of failed me, because I felt like a lot of the other kids, if they were gifted naturally, they would get all this encouragement from the teachers, but then the kids that didn't have that natural ability just kind of like fell behind, and then you'd fall behind even more. But now I see it actually as a gift, because who knows what career I would have gotten into. I might have gotten into something in a totally different category that I actually would have hated, just because I graduated school and I had the qualification to do something in a paper pushing kind of job, I guess.
It seems like things kind of worked out for you in the end.
It did.
Yeah. So, okay, so you find yourself, you find your niche, you find your groove, you have this real like second education at Space & K.
Yeah.
But, I feel like I'm just kind of hitting certain bullet points in your career for the sake of time, but, please let me know if I'm missing something massive.
No.
You ended up working with a company called Butter London pretty early in your career, and that's when I met you. And you were doing nails.
Yes.
So you really leaned into like your original area of expertise.
Totally.
So how was that for you?
That was great, actually. I mean, it was an interesting opportunity that was actually, strangely, this is such a full circle, crazy story, but I remember I was at Space & K working part-time, assisting makeup artists at the same time. But I was also doing nails in London on jobs. Like it was very much like I was kind of just doing a few different things until, I kind of was able to be exclusive in one thing. I remember
it was like until whatever hit, like until like you were kind of like trying your options out.
I mean, I knew nails wasn't something that I wanted to do for forever. I knew makeup was where I wanted to go, but nails was paying my bills more because I was so expert. I was an expert in that space. So, Space & K was like my job that I did for the experience and for the cash in my pocket and for the money in my pocket. But nails was something that I could do and get a really big job with a really good rate because I knew what to do. So it was like, they two kind of like played off of one another a little bit. But basically, one day when I was assisting, I assisted Alex Box for a show in London, and there was a girl backstage who I actually used to do nails for in Southport, in my hometown, this girl called Sarah Blackwell.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, oh my God, Katie, what the hell? What are you doing here? Neither of us realized we lived in London. She was doing PR for Illamasqua at the time, and Illamasqua was obviously the brand that Alex Box was affiliated with. And she was like, oh yeah, let's get together, let's get coffee or whatever. And cut to like, a while later, she then started working at Purple PR. She repped Bottle London. She was like, you do nails. Bottle London need a new nail tech, because there was, all of a sudden a space sort of in that role for Fashion Week stuff. So I kind of slipped into that almost like a bit of a last minute type of thing. And essentially one thing led to another, and then I became their ambassador for like 4 or 5 years. But it worked and made so much sense because they were actually creating makeup products. And so because I was a nail tech that wanted to get into makeup, they were a nail brand that also wanted to get into makeup. It was that perfect kind of like, we both wanted to go the same thing. We both wanted to go that same route. We both wanted to do that same.
What a match.
Crazy. And match made by somebody that I knew from when I was 16 in my hometown. That's nails I used to do. It's mad. It's so freaky to think about like how everything worked. And then I worked with them for about 4 or 5 years, and it was cool. It took me some cool places and gave me some cool experiences.
So then when did the Katie Jane Hughes like makeup artist 2.0 start to reveal itself? You broke away from Butter London, and was that because you were like, okay, I need to kind of become my own artist, I want to start working with other brands, or I have something to say? Like why did you go out on your own?
Full disclosure, my position was released, and it couldn't have been a sweet. It was like a rough pill to swallow, because I was living in New York and I was on salary for this company. I had this security of health insurance and a salary, and then all of a sudden that role was no more. And even though I kind of was ready for that role to be no more, I was scared, and I was scared to sort of do it on my own, I guess. And there's a comfort level, to having a salary and having that health insurance. And, when I loved the job, I loved the people, but it was sort of coming to a point where it didn't feel as sort of natural and as organic as it once did, as, sort of other people's roles changed in the brand. And it just started to feel a bit like, well, maybe this isn't my home anymore. And that's totally okay, because everything should have a shelf life in a way, because otherwise you don't grow. And so then when I sort of moved on from there, Instagram happened.
So Instagram became your new, not exactly employer, but your new, that's where Katie Jane Hughes like 2.0 was born. And
totally.
Why do you think that was really, the game changer for you? Like, why do you think you were so successful on Instagram? Because that's where really a lot of people discovered you. They didn't discover you through your previous employer.
Totally. I think when I moved on and did my own thing, and Instagram was essentially like my space to play and be as creative as I wanted to be, it was a bit, for lack of a better term, like it was like what am I trying to say? It was just like I'd had this, like, I'd just been let go to sort of fly whichever direction I wanted to fly, and talk about whatever products I wanted to talk about, and post whatever kind of content I wanted to talk about. Not that I couldn't before, it was just that anything branded, anything around, working with a brand, you're pretty much exclusive to that brand when you're on salary with them. And so, there's a certain level of, and not to say I would never do that again, but because you just never know what's around the corner. But I do believe that we all have many, many products in our makeup bag versus just one brand. So it's, I think having that little bit of sort of creative freedom from being on my own again was like I think it showed on social that I was just so excited about makeup and so excited to play and be creative. And, I think what happened really was I had this like incredible opportunity to create my own editorial lifestyle online in whatever way I wanted it to be. And I did. I just posted close-up eye makeup shots, like makeup looks that I wanted to create in a editorial world, but yet maybe I wasn't sort of necessarily given the opportunity at the time, because I wasn't really that well known in New York at the time. So it was, for me, it was very much, I treated Instagram as my own Vogue magazine that was just about me or my work, or Allure magazine, or whatever I want to call it. That it was my own editorial. Got to show the world what I wanted to show them.
And did you feel like any inhibition about showing because there's a difference between showing looks and showing yourself. And I think you've kind of done a bit of both. And I think you've leaned in at times more towards yourself and more towards looks. And that's what I think is interesting about you on Instagram.
Do you mean like because I'm a makeup artist and makeup artists typically didn't used to do looks on themselves on social, they would show off more like looks from set? Yeah, I mean, that definitely came up.
Yeah, I think what's
many
interesting
times.
is like you show yourself.
Well, I think what I, obviously back in at the time when I was sort of, back on my own again in 2016 or 2015, I can't remember when it was, I didn't really have anybody else to play on with makeup but myself. So I was just like, okay, we're going to do this. Because I hadn't really been here that long. I'd been in New York maybe a year and a half at that point, 2 years. And I'd made friends and stuff, but it's just my face is there for me to use at my disposal whenever I want it. So I was like, okay, great. And also I'm not like, I like to put makeup on. I like to be creative with makeup. So for me, it was like, well, it was a bit of a no-brainer. And also I'm not a supermodel. I'm not an actress. So for me to be able to relay a look that I would do on one of these people in that space, but on somebody that would just that's not in that category, I think gave other people that wear makeup and like to be creative with makeup the sort of approval to do that on themselves too. And I think that that's kind of where it's what helped people almost that, followed me back in the early days, like really try new things and try a blue eyeliner and try a bright orange lipstick because they saw it on somebody that they might have been able to, assimilate to.
Right. It's not like on some frozen model who's not talking. Yeah.
Right. It's on a person with, overplucked eyebrows and like, want crooked teeth. Like it was very much, I think, something that people could relate to in a way.
So, yeah, I mean, you definitely broke, certain barriers and conventions. And you came at the beauty industry, not came at it, but like you approached the beauty industry kind of through a little bit of a side door, like you were a nail artist. Yeah. You were, who broke into the beauty industry and achieved like a lot of success. Yeah. You came at the beauty industry through Instagram, which is at that time unconventional, maybe not in 2022. What was the feedback that you got from the industry?
There was definitely times where I kind of met with agencies and they were like, oh, just stick to nails. You'll be trying for another 10 years to make it in New York as a makeup artist. It's so oversaturated. There's not enough nail artists. And then on the flip side, there would be instances where, sort of I'd lose out on jobs sometimes because maybe they'd be like, oh, we kind of wanted to see more makeup of her doing makeup on other people versus on herself, or at least not really understanding what that meant at the time. They might have just sort of not been able to see it for what it was, which was just a mood board of makeup looks.
And sorry, who's saying this? Katie, who's saying this? Are these like agents or are these like brand founders? Like who's saying this? Or like randos on like Instagram?
No, this was definitely like agents and then almost like kind of stylists often would see my Instagram on set and be like, is that you? Like, is that your, like, is that you? Like, do you show that to like clients or like do you show photographers that that's your work? And I'd be like, well, no, because of this reaction, because of this energy that you're giving me right now. At the time, I actually had another Instagram account where I would post my work, but a time came where I was just like, a time came where I don't give a fuck. I'm just like, I have, and there was almost this weird, crossroads at a certain point in the career where the people that would used to judge let me go backwards. Yeah. There came a crossroads in which I noticed a shift in how I was treated by makeup artists that didn't post on themselves versus now are being encouraged to post content using their own faces. And then
what was that shift?
That shift was a literal, like me not really having that much, genuine feedback with a person to then that person in my DM being like, hey, I love your work. Can I ask you some advice about how to shoot content? And I'm always going to give it.
Oh my God.
I'm always going to give it because I'm always I've always been just like, of course. Like, this is what I do. Totally. And there was some instances too, which were quite funny that was like, that would happen. And then that person would sort of just go away after a while. And I'm like, okay, so that you just really wanted something from me, but it wasn't ever genuine. But I don't really care. It's just funny that that's how sometimes some people operate.
Wait, Katie, I cut you off because I was so interested in what you were saying. You were like, so there's, some people would be like, oh, is that you? Blah, blah. And then you're like, but then, oh, you said there was a shift. And you're like, and then the reverse. Sorry. Do you remember what you were saying or no?
the energy shifted from the judgmental tone of, and again, like I should say, the judgmental tone sometimes was coming from people that are very much like, oh, this is industry and you're a makeup artist and like, you know, versus seeing me as an influencer or whatever. Like obviously it's not so like it's much more multifaceted, but essentially the shift that I mean, or the sort of change that happened was like that change in energy that I felt from other creatives in the space wanting to sort of be able to leverage information from me, which I'm always going to give it because I'm happy to. Like there's enough work for all of us to go around. We're all different. We all have a different perspective. But it's just funny how you can be sort of made to feel like a little bit like not qualified by some people, but then all of a sudden they're like screaming your praises because they kind of want to slot into that space with you as well and trying to sort of get in there with you, which I think that's why you always just have to roll with the curve and go with the curve and just sort of, you know, evolve with the way an industry evolves a little bit.
Listen, everyone, holiday season, gifting season is going to be here like before you know it. You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Get on top of it.
Get on top of it now, all right? You're going to want something special. You're going to want something unusual, uncommon. Go to Uncommon Goods. They have something for everybody on your list. And they have the most like really clever gifts, don't they, Jen?
They do. Mom, dad, teenagers, babies, new baby gifts I always get here. And for my mom, she loves puzzles. I found on their website, they have lots of personalized stuff. So this is a personalized word search throw blanket. She loves a puzzle. It has all these letters on it. And then you can pick the word that you want them to highlight with like a little red circle. So I'm doing for my mom, Bindi, which is the name of her dog. So it'll be like really she has cute to find all the words, including the name of her dog. So personalized. The best thing about Uncommon Goods is that you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. This isn't all the mass stuff you're going to find everywhere else online. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. How cool is that? They've donated more than $2.5 million to date.
That's good. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/fatmascara. That's uncommongoods.com/fatmascara for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
This is too funny. You guys have to hear this. Our new sponsor, Osea. We are so excited about this brand. We just had like an offline fight about like, I'll give the personal endorsement. And then Jess was like, no, I can do it. I can do the personal endorsement because we both love their product so much. Okay, so I was going to talk about the Andaria algae body oil, but what were you going to talk about?
The body oil. But the whole package is good. So
it's all so good.
Yeah, listen, like I got the package when you were away, Jen, and I've tried the brand before in my life, but this was a chance to really deep dive. Everything is good. The body scrub is really good too, though.
Oh, the body scrub's good. The body butter and this oil, let me tell you, you've probably seen the oil, by the way, on Instagram or TikTok or something. Like celebrities love it. It's the algae body oil. I don't know how they do it, but it's a full-on natural body oil, but not at all greasy. And the scent is like one of those scents that plays well with every perfume, that doesn't leave you like too fragrant, but it's not nothing. Like unscented body oil, what's the point of you? You know what I mean?
It's so nice. It's really rich.
So if you're going to try Osea, obviously, our first choice, I think, would be the algae body oil, but an even better primer for this brand is their Total Body Glow Trio Kit. So it includes the body oil, so you get one of those, a moisturizing body scrub. I think, Jess, you were talking about that. And then this plant-based body brush for dry body brushing. And you know there's good science behind body brushing, very good for your circulation.
I do feel it's good. I feel like I have a beach house in Malibu and I should be staring at the sea. I also, I put on my robe after I use it, so I really just kind of complete the whole mood.
I can picture you, Jess. I can picture you. Listen, find your new skincare and body care favorites at OseaMalibu.com. That's OSEA Malibu.com and get a special discount just for our listeners. 10% off your first order site-wide with promo code Mascara. You'll get free samples with every order. Orders over $50 get free shipping, and you're going to want to do this right away. Go to OseaMalibu.com, that's OSEA Malibu.com, and use the promo code Mascara.
You have to buy your own bathrobe and beach house. Love that. I think that's great advice. So let's talk about these looks that we're like, you know, I feel like I keep referencing all the looks, but let's actually talk about the work that you're doing. So do you feel that you have like an aesthetic? Like, is there like that's so Katie Jane, or is it like anything goes?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely an anything goes. I used to, and I think one thing we didn't discuss yet and how I think I grew so fast on Instagram back when I did was like very much what I was sharing on Instagram was fresh, dewy, balmy, gorgeous, wet, luminous skin, but with like cool, creative pops of color. Because at the time in 2014, 15, that isn't really what we were seeing that much of. We were seeing much more of that sort of Instaglam kind of look. And I think that really helped me sort of have a bit of a different perspective and almost, you know, also encourage other makeup artists to try that same thing, because it's what we'd learned on set. Like if I went to a job and put on a full face of foundation on someone's face, I'd get told to go take it off. I could see too much foundation. And there was definitely a type of person online that would not like that. But again, that's fine. There's no right or wrong. Everybody likes different things for different reasons. But that is definitely sort of, I think, the thing that set me apart back when I started doing Instagram outside of the Butts of London thing. And then I think my aesthetic still rings true to that today. I think I probably, you know, I'm a little bit more glam in the complexion now just because I kind of enjoy that for myself personally. But I definitely still think I'm very soft and effortless with the skin, but creative pops of color and cool textures. Like I love to throw like a shimmery eyeshadow on the lip to kind of change that lip texture from being matte to matte with a frost, because it's done a certain kind of way. It can actually look so sexy in 70s or 80s and expensive and elegant versus cheesy and crap, for lack of a better word.
I love that. Who are some of your makeup heroes?
My makeup hero, definitely my mom. My mom is number one, just like the way that she's been so true to her makeup identity for her whole life. Red lip, black lashes, loads of bronzer, like literally could... if she was the product developer for a mascara, she would develop the best mascara ever made because she's so fussy. My mom,
what mascara does she use?
She used to use Calorie 2000 from L'Oreal back in the day, like that old school one. And now she kind of flits between and they change, but her lashes have not gotten very good in her old age. They've definitely gone a little bit thinner. So now she's even more picky than before. There's a new one actually coming out soon that is under embargo, but I'm getting it for her to try, and I want to record it and see what she thinks of it. But I think my mom for sure. I would say people whose makeup I love, like honestly, other creatives I find. Sorry, let me go back. I think the people that inspire me so much in the beauty space are definitely other creatives. Like I love Celine, the makeup artist from Amsterdam with the shaved head. I love her so much. I love what she does. I love my friend Andaria. A lot of people in the same space as me I'm very much inspired by, but also my clients, and especially my clients that push me and the clients that, you know, sort of will be like, oh, could we just change this? Or, oh, can we change that? Because I think when you're doing somebody else's face, you just do what you think is what's the right thing because of what you know. But I like that little bit sometimes of pushback because it gives you an opportunity to see it from a different perspective. Like the first time I ever did Rosie Huntington Whiteley's makeup, she was like, cool, can we do more blush? And at the time, when I go back to the time that I worked with her for the first time ever, I wasn't using blush in any of my makeup looks on myself at all. And I was so pale and like no contrast from blush at all. And then I kind of remember thinking, wow, that actually looks really good. And Rosie fully like made me fall in love with blush because of how she was like, yeah, I want a bit of blush. And then it all changed. And then with Hailey a couple of months ago, she's like, oh, can we take the complexion down just on the cheeks a little bit? I want my skin to really show through. And I was like, well, yeah, of course, your skin's amazing. Why would I, and it's just natural habit. Sometimes you do what you know that you're doing. And sometimes it's good to have that, and I'm inspired by that in a weird way, because I feel like everything's been done and so much to be inspired by that it's almost a bit overwhelming. I'm more inspired by sort of those things and how people like to wear their makeup as a person versus what's a trend.
What part of your career do you want to develop more?
I definitely want to develop, weirdly, my personal brand in a sense, because I feel like as I grow through my life on Instagram and my world in social, I get the most enjoyment from sharing like bits of my family and bits of my private life, and then like little random things about my health and wellness. Like I have Hashimoto's, and when I share about that, people are like, oh my God, you do? How do you eat from Hashimoto's? What do you share? And all the while, makeup is never going to be something that leaves my account or the space that I'm in on social. But I do think like as a person on Instagram that, has a following, I think it's important to for me, it's important for me to show a very, very real side of that, because makeup is a mask in a way. It's not, but it is. It's like this thing that you put on that's like changing the way you look. And I think the flip side of that, or the extreme side of that, would be showing the most real version of you that you can. And for me, like, I talk a lot about fertility stuff and IVF, and I just did a laparoscopy and discovered that I had endometriosis and fibroids, which I didn't even know that I had, which was really cool to learn, and I think that kind of thing for me is stuff that I really enjoy sharing about, because it actually weirdly helps me too. Like, anxiety is something I talk about. When I talk about my anxiety, sometimes it's heavy when I talk about it for myself, because then people share their stories with me, which then can, like, I'm an empath, so it can, like, load onto me too. But generally, I think the more that we can just be real with one another online and be genuine with one another online, the better. So I think personal brand, but as well as creating a brand, is something that is coming, and that's definitely in the pipeline.
So we're going to talk about that in a second, but I want to go back to something you said, not to leave people on a cliffhanger, but you're talking about sharing, like, really intimate parts of yourself. Was that hard for you to warm up to, or no? Because I think,
not really.
That's not for everyone.
No, totally. And it shouldn't be for everyone. I think, it's one of those things that Instagram is one of those places where I learned so much in so many ways. Like, even from how somebody talks to me in a message and how I reply to them, I learned something about myself in that moment, because somebody will say, "Hey, how's the IVF journey?" And I'm like, I don't mind the "are you pregnant" question, but I do understand why it could be triggering for someone, and I like to share that with someone. So in ways that, like, I'd never clap back at somebody or be sort of snappy with someone about something that could be triggering. I'll more sort of turn it into a teachable moment and be like, "Hey, the IVF journey is kind of like, it's on a bit of a standstill right now because we're traveling, but I just want to say, like, obviously maybe be aware that this could be a triggering question, because who knows what stage I'm at, or maybe something just happened that I didn't want to happen." And so I think it's an interesting one, but I think for me, the hardest part of sharing on social is honestly figuring out the way to articulate what it is that I'm trying to say in a small amount of information. And I think that's a reason, that's where my insecurity sort of falls into place from school, because I don't feel like sometimes I feel like I don't communicate as effectively as I could, but just based on, like, I'm like, wait, what does that word mean? I'm like, wait, is that the right word for that? Oh, is that is that word triggering, or is that word the right descriptor of that thing? So for me, like, I don't find, I'm very an open book in a sense, but I am very also, I will tell somebody, like, actually, I'm not really comfortable talking about that right now, but, like, when I'm ready, I'll tell you. And I'll also preface it when I'm sharing it in stories. I'll be like, so I had a transfer of an embryo, it failed, but please nobody tell me that you're sorry, because I'm not sorry. It happened and it's okay. Yeah. Like, the sorry would have made it heavier. So it's almost like if you set it up for yourself how you need people to respond to it, then it's a safer space. But it's a complex.
Do you reply to everyone who writes to you?
I do, most people, yeah. I mean, people that are especially, like, already in past the sort of, approvals thing, the requests section. I check my DMs multiple times a day, and it's very much a conversational place. I get messages sometimes. It's really sweet of people saying, "Oh my God, I've been following you for like 8 years and you still reply to me. This is so nice." And, like, back when you had 10,000 followers, and I mean, yeah, like, if it wasn't for the community, then there wouldn't be an Instagram. If it wasn't for the community, then I wouldn't have anybody to share stuff with. So it's a huge part of it for me.
Well, you have such a big community and have developed, such a major profile that now you have a line coming out, which you are very excited about. What can you tell us?
I can tell you it's one product, but kind of more than one. It's one product, but it's 3 SKUs within that product. That's more than I've shared so far. But it's a kit. So it's a kit in the complexion category.
3 SKUs.
It's a kit.
Okay.
One product, 3 SKUs. Yeah.
It's like
one
a riddle.
product, 3 SKUs.
What's one product,
in the highlighter?
3 SKUs?
I know, it really is.
Okay.
Yeah, so one product, 3 SKUs within the highlight glow category. And the basis of this brand is that I want to be able to deeply educate how to use something. And the question that I get the most is just the most, like, basic thing. Is like, how do I put mascara on? I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, huh? And I know people don't need to just know how to put mascara on. They genuinely just want to be like, okay, well, how do I put mascara on to get, like, the lift? How do I put mascara on to wear with a winged eyeliner? How do I put mascara on the bottom lashes without getting it on my skin? How do I put mascara on and it not transfer through the day? There's so many makeup questions that encourage my desire to create a product to serve that need, if that makes sense.
Okay, so we're going to get, like, a Katie Jane Hughes tutorial with your line.
Oh, definitely. There'll be a QR code.
Okay. Oh, amazing.
Brands definitely educate, but I think a lot of brands like educate in a way that's like, here, slide on this eyeshadow and then just blend it with your ring finger and then you're done. But I think people want more than that. So
am I going to be able to get the Katie Jane Hughes glow?
Sure. I'll get you it early. And, you know.
Oh, I don't need it early. I just want to be able to, I need to understand.
What do you mean?
Is this kit going to be able to help me understand how to get the glow?
Oh, I mean, it's not, well, essentially you're not really buying a kit. You're buying the education, and the kit is a byproduct of the education.
Okay, now you're dropping too many clues, and I feel like you're probably not going to say anymore.
No, I mean, the thing is though, I'm also one of those people like, you know, everybody's going to do something slightly different and it's fine. And I'll also hold my hand up and be like, the thing that I'm creating hasn't not been done before. It's just not necessarily been done in this format before and delivered to you in this kind of way before. So
when are we going to be able to get it delivered? What month?
Hopefully June 2023. There's so many supply chain things. Oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a crazy space.
Until the kit comes out, can you give us some tips for getting the glow with like what we have?
Exfoliate.
How do we get that dewy glow?
Exfoliate, but don't over exfoliate.
Okay. How often?
I'd say if you don't exfoliate, once or twice a week. If you do exfoliate already, maybe like as you know your own skin best, so however much you feel like you need it. But I think exfoliating with some sort of acid like the Ren toner, the Ren Ready Steady Glow toner, or like the Alpha H liquid gold type stuff, like anything like that, just to slab off that dead skin. And I always pay extra attention to the higher points of the face with whatever acid I'm using, because it's those areas that I feel like it's those areas that don't actually need as much sort of sloughing away of the product, of the dead skin, but it's those areas that I actually think react very well in a shiny sense to those products. Like if I take a cotton round with a little bit of Ren sort of acid toner on it and just like have a little gentle buff of the cheekbone, that cheekbone literally is glowing. And there's like a light bulb inside of my face. And it's not because I've like ripped the skin off my face. It's because literally it's so squeaky clean that it shines.
Okay. So now you've just hit on the skincare, but what about product?
As far as like a topical, put something on it to make it glow.
Yeah, like cosmetics.
Yeah, I love my favorite highlighters. I really, really love the Rose Ink ones. They're really, really nice. The new ones, they're great. And they come in multiple shades. I don't know, what is my favorite highlighter? What I'm going to say is going to break hearts because nobody's going to be able to get this, but Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector. There was nothing like it. R.I.P.
eBay.
Oh my God,
eBay.
Make sure it's real. The close second to Shimmering Skin Perfector, if you are looking for the bottle liquid version, is the Kryolan version. Kryolan basically make a very similar one, and it's gorgeous. What about foundation? I'm a concealer person through and through.
Yeah.
I don't know. Concealer for me is foundation. Foundation's concealer. I consider them very much the same thing. They're just marketed differently, I guess. I'm a diehard Glossier Stretch Concealer person through and through. Like, I will never not use that product. I can't explain it, but every time I put that on someone's face on a photo shoot, the photographer is like, whoa, their skin looks amazing. Because it just reflects and it just bounces the light away, but it covers, but it doesn't cover too much and it still looks like skin.
I like it. It's very thin, but yeah, it's not a ton of coverage. Yeah.
It's not. It's dewy, it's juicy, it's thin. It's thick in the sense of that it's a pasty cream, but it shears down and becomes just like a glistening gloss. The one that I would supplement with that would be like a NARS Soft Matte Concealer. However, I hear that the REM Beauty by Ariana Grande new concealer is a literal hybrid of those two in one pot. So I'm very excited about that.
Oh, wow. I got to get some more of that Glossier concealer. You haven't used that in years, but it's so good. Right.
Just got to put it on with a brush everywhere. It's not an under eye concealer. That's the thing, a misconception of that product. It's not an under eye concealer and you're not going to get coverage from it. Take it with a fluffy brush like my number 8 from the green kit and then just like whip it everywhere, just thinly, and then just shear it down in areas where you don't want as much.
You would put it under the eyes or you wouldn't? You're like, it's not an under eye concealer?
You can put it under the eyes, but if someone's naturally a little bit more dewy in their skin and get a little bit oily through the day, that concealer is going to move even more because of the natural skin, or if it's over a face cream. Like if I use it under my eyes, I use the tiniest amount, like what's left in the brush from doing my cheeks, for example, or my chin, and then I might put something matte over the top, but I will always set it under my eyes. But it
doesn't really give you a lot of power.
No, but that's what I love about it though, because it's it's like a tinted moisturizer. That is not, I wouldn't actually, if they ever asked me for advice on remarketing that product completely, I would say you need to remarket it and call it a tinted moisturizer in a pot, because that's what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't, but then you need something. Yeah, I think that's why I wasn't completely in love with it for underneath the eyes, because it's like, it doesn't really do anything.
Right.
You need something like more like, I don't know how you feel about this product, but like Laura Mercier underneath the eyes, like something with like a little more spackle.
Yeah.
Just like the one in the like a secret camouflage.
I mean, I love that product. It's great. The colors are great for like color correcting and so on and so forth. But for me, just like I love a tiny bit of full coverage concealer under my eye, just over a touch of moisturizer.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
I think it's sometimes easy just to go for something full coverage and use less of it than.
Agree. Let's go. Maybe just a couple more products, because I know people are going to want to know.
What category?
Maybe a favorite colorful eyeliner right now. Let's do colorful eyeliner and mascara.
My favorite mascara, I really, really, really love Ami Collet. My friend Jada that used to work at Glossier, her mascara is unbelievable. It's in a bright orange tube. You can't miss it. It's so good. That's my favorite mascara. Just gives you like what you need quickly, easy to remove, because I also hate mascaras that are so good that they're hard to get off. Favorite eyeliner. I love just a good pencil. Like those new Glossier No. 1 pencils are great, just if you want a little pop of color. Okay. A lot of fun.
And let's do lips. Let's do lips.
I would say,
what are you loving right now?
For me, right now, I'm loving the new Dior one. The new Dior ones are amazing. They're like $60 now a wear. They're unbelievable. It's the most matte format that you can get in a bullet that I've found. It's called Dior Rouge Forever Rouge. But I honestly love what am I carrying with me this time? I really love pencils for the lips. Have you heard of Era Perez? Era Perez. They sell them at Detox Market, and they have these pencils, these like chubby crayons, and they are so nice. Because then, most chubby crayons are quite matte and dry. These are like a creamy lipstick and a chubby crayon that you sharpen. They're amazing. So Era Perez.
A creamy pencil feels like an oxymoron. Era Perez.
Totally.
Okay. I'm into it.
A creamy pencil, and they're a big pencil. You get a lot.
We're going to finish with a quick lightning round, all right? Just the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. Favorite album. I'm going to throw it back to an album. So you can remember those.
Probably before my time, but like Bohemian Rhapsody, if that was an album versus a single. Anything Queen, all day.
Anything Queen. Okay, we'll do that. I'm staying with music because I love that you wanted to be a singer. And I love this whole thing with your mom. Your mom must be so proud of you.
Oh my God. She's the biggest product junkie. And she literally, if she sees that I've got product in the house when I'm home, she's like, what's that? Is that for me? What's in there for me? What can I have? I'm like,
yeah, do you bring products home to her?
Oh yeah, but she holds it all and she never uses it. She just uses what she likes, but she keeps it all either way because she's just like, I'll have it, I'll take it, I'll give it to my friends. She's naughty.
Okay, song you'd love to sing in front of a crowd.
Wow, there's too many, but I would say Songbird by Eva Cassidy.
Face you're dying to paint.
We follow each other, so I'm sure it's going to happen sometime soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Jennifer Aniston.
Okay. I love that. Put it out there.
She just seems so cool.
She seems really cool. Best career advice you ever got?
Best career advice I ever got was just be yourself and everything that is supposed to come your way will.
And I have to ask this because you have the best accessories. Where do you get them?
Oh my God. Real. I'm like a real fiend. Can't stay away from the place. It's terrible. But like, I just live for a big statement belt, like the Loewe Obi belt. It's just like, goes with anything. Love it. Dresses up an outfit in seconds.
Thank you so much, Katie. This was great to talk to you.
See you too.
We hope you enjoyed the show. It's your reviews and feedback that help us make the podcast even better. Head over to iTunes to rate and review us, or email your thoughts to info@fatmascara.com.
We also want to answer your beauty questions and hear what products you love. To share a Razor One product review or to ask a beauty question, email us at info@fatmascara.
If you send it as a voice memo file, we can even share your voice on the podcast. You can also do that by leaving us a voice message. Our phone number in the United States is 646-481-8182.
Thanks so much for listening.
Listen, everyone, holiday season, gifting season is going to be here Like before you know it. You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Get on top of it.
Get on top of it now, all right? You're going to want something special. You're going to want something unusual, uncommon. Go to Uncommon Goods. They have something for everybody on your list. And they have the most like really clever gifts, don't they, Jen?
They do. Mom, dad, teenagers, babies, new baby gifts I always get here. And for my mom, she loves puzzles. I found on their website, they have lots of personalized stuff. So this is a personalized word search throw blanket. She loves a puzzle. It has all these letters on it. And then you can pick the word that you want them to highlight with like a little red circle. So I'm doing for my mom, Bindi, which is the name of her dog. So it'll be like really she has to find all the words, including the name of her dog. So personalized. The best thing about Uncommon Goods is that you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. This isn't all the mass stuff you're going to find everywhere else online. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. How cool is that? They've donated more than $2.5 million to date.
That's good. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/fatmascara. That's uncommongoods.com/fatmascara for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.